So we got Dwayne Kyles here. Like this is a little bit of an introduction. We'll let's for right now let you do your own introductions. I get better at doing introductions for my guests. So I know you from Something High originally. So give us a little background on yourself, where you from, your channels, your brand, all that good stuff for us.
Okay. So like you said, my name is Dwayne Kyles. I am 25 years old. I was born in Columbia, South Carolina. But I grew up in Sumter, South Carolina, Merck City, aka Merck City. But yeah, man, I grew up out to the Merck, man. Even though I hate calling it that, but that's just what it is. You can't run from the name. But yeah, I grew up loving basketball. Basketball was literally everything to me. Like that was the centerpiece for everything in my childhood. If it didn't include basketball, I didn't want to be around it. I didn't want to do it. So up until the age. I say high school. That's when I really started to get serious about basketball. And I played 4 years at Sumter High School. Did some dope things. Was all region. Led us to the championship game right before the big championship. And played really well. Actually got to try out for Newberry College after that. But ultimately, basketball wasn't the thing for me to succeed in life. Came up short. Didn't get to have a full scholarship to a school like I wanted to all my life. So that kind of drove me to starting my business, which is Wayne's World, video production, public speaking, ministry, all in one business that I currently have. And I've been doing that ever since 2015. Started out as something where I was trying to document what I believe to be a mini series of me going from not getting a college scholarship to me walking on to a team because I already got cut from Newberry. I already didn't get the Newberry, so I was going to Francis Marion in 2015. And that summer, I wanted to document it. So I bought a camera, and yeah, man, that's how I started. I was documenting myself. Up until the point where I got to Francis Marion. And then when I got to Francis Marion, my whole world just flipped. When I got, it was a culture shock. I met a group of people that kind of changed my life, changed my value system, and helped me see that life was bigger than basketball, and that my call and my purpose was bigger than a game. So yeah, I got there. I didn't even try out for the team. I started to do video production with the people that I met. And ever since then, bro, it's just been a journey of just trying to continue to find my purpose within video production, within being a creative, artist, and just be a giver of myself to the people. So, yeah.
That's what's up, man. It's a dope story. It's a lot of gems, right? All within there. You can see from. It's good that you was able to be willing to adjust your path. And some people, they get so focused on one thing, they're like, nah, I'm gonna do it. It is not all the time that it's not that you're not good enough. Sometimes that you might be better off doing something else. But you might be good doing this, but you might be better to change something else. Keeping a good crowd around you, having a good village that support you, push you in the right direction. And that's really dope, man. See, I see you started your path for video production and everything. So you graduated 2014, so almost immediately after graduating high school.
Well, nah, it was in 2015. Okay. So 2013. Okay. 2 years at Central Carolina Technical College. And during that time, I'll tell you, like, I did not know what I was going to do. I still was thinking, like, okay, basketball might be a thing. But I really, because I actually went to try out for Newberry kind of directly after high school. Mm-hmm. So after I did the full scholarship, I'm like, I don't know. But then when my friend Eric died in 2015, and he was a motivational figure, that's when I got a little more motivation. But the only thing I knew was basketball, so I was like, okay, I'm motivated. I guess I'll go try to walk onto the team again. And that's why I got a camera to document that. And then, that's when I found out when I got to the college that I needed to do this video production thing full time. So it wasn't until I got in Florence, South Carolina, around some dope people, hearing the right message, that I literally took the video production thing super serious.
Okay. I got you. So following that path, was it like how much of a crushing blow was it? Like, was it a big thing when you didn't get the full scholarship, or did you just decide to go, well, I'm gonna pivot to the next thing? Was it like a quick adjustment?
It wasn't a quick adjustment. Me and my dad actually went up there, and he actually watched the whole tryout. And during the tryout, I kind of felt as if I wasn't going to get it, but I was still hopeful. I kind of felt like I didn't belong in that setting, but I was still hopeful. But after we got done, and the coach told me, "Yeah, you can come, but we don't have that money that you were looking for." It kind of sunk in, and then me and my dad talked about it, and I still was in a mind frame of, yo, I may hoop one day, but just not at this school. So that's why in 2015 I was trying to go play at Francis Marion. I was still kind of hopeful, but during that time, like from 2013 to 2015, before my bro died, I was just kind of clueless, didn't really know like what I was going to do. In the meantime, I still have diaries of me like crying out to God saying, yo, I feel like a failure. I feel like I am wasting time. I feel directionless. And yeah, man. So during the 2013 to 2015, before that May, I was really in a place of, just chaotic thought. Didn't really have a clear path of what I wanted to do. Really didn't know myself like I thought I did before 2013.
I got you.
Yeah.
That can be a scary, kind of unsettling feeling when you start to have that unsureness. Was it? I know you said you had your dad to come with you to the tryouts. Was your family something that really big for you to lean on? I see your dad on all of your social medias, on your stories, posts, and everything. Were they a good person for you to lean on? I know going off to college somewhere can be kind of separate you from that. So, like, what was that dynamic like?
My dad has always been my OG. He's always been like reliable. He's always been somebody I can count on. So, when we went up to Newberry, and we found out the news that I wasn't gonna get, the scholarship. I mean, he was there. He was encouraging me, and he still believed in me. Like, since the day I was born, I've been the only child, and my parents have literally poured everything that they've ever learned into me to be who I am today. And he's taught me to be resilient. He's taught me to just get it done by any means. So, he didn't allow me to soak in, this unsureness of what I was going to do. He just loved me through my unsureness and was saying, yo, in the meantime, you're at this technical school for free. Take care of business so that we can apply to the schools that you need to apply to, so that we can have the highest, percentage of scholarships or grants that we can get. So the focus was kind of shifted on trying to win in the game of basketball to now like winning in life. So he was helping me to actually like win in life, which was a lot more important than trying to get on somebody's floor to get coached by somebody that didn't really know me, like my dad, who's been there all my life, was, just trying to coach me off the floor, which was, the most important area. So yeah, man, I truly believe that me failing in that 2013 Newberry tryout was kind of the best thing that ever happened to me, because it allowed me to see that I was more than just a basketball athlete, because during my life, I've always been the smallest person. So how I got compliments and value and girls was by, the social status of being good at basketball. And when that was stripped away from me, that was one of the things that kind of made me feel unsure about myself, because I no longer could post a picture with a jersey on. I had to post a picture in a regular outfit. And, when I did that, the response wasn't as, good. I didn't have the amount of, interest from girls that I wanted anymore. So it allowed me to see like where girls' value systems were back around my time, and like who was truly liking me for who I was, and for the friends like who really hung with me when I wasn't on Twitter getting mentioned by coaches and things of that nature. So it kind of revealed a lot, and I'm grateful for that time.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up, man. We don't always see things like that. You said it was like a status symbol for you to propel you in certain crowds or amongst certain conversations. We don't really see that. We just see that. Yeah. We just see the fruits of it and say, "Oh, this is awesome," but we don't really see that it may not have the strongest foundations, and it's good that we can get, that the person can get to that point and realize those things, because especially when being younger, coming from high school and then the years after high school, it's a big thing about who you're around, who are your friends, who are your close people that you're being around. And that's something I believe that a lot of people still struggle with to this day, because you don't figure it out after that short period of time after high school between college. You're going to kind of carry that on through your college years, being an adult. So it's important to really figure out, who's really for you and what really makes you you. Because some people just focus on, well, I'm a basketball player, but they don't really branch off beyond that, who they really are, what they really believe, and what they stand for, And that's something that's just so important for us to really be grounded and figure out who we really are, what we really about.
That's facts. That's facts, bro. And I truly believe that, like I said, if I didn't figure that out right after high school, I would have been like so many other individuals, and not to throw shots at anybody in our city that still lives there, that's still trying to find things to be validated by, that's still buying cars that they can't afford to be valid, that's still wearing outfits that they can't afford to be validated. And I believe, like, God allowing me to get that strip really showed me that, hey, they shouldn't, or you shouldn't, try to pursue value from external things. Like, your value is intrinsic. Like, before you were born, that's when you were given value. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, or don't get to go through situations that make them realize it. And if they don't ever, and even if they go through those situations, a lot of people, look at it the wrong way and say, well, I just lost this amount of whatever, let me get that back so I can get that love. Not looking at why they lost it, so they can actually know who they are, bro. Mm-hmm. I think that's key.
No, I'm so glad that you mentioned that term, like the term intrinsic value. And I was just talking to my wife about that, and we were just talking about how a lot of people, like, just like you said, they get these things that we place a value on this certain brand's hat or belt, or this bag, or these shoes, or this car, because we don't understand and comprehend the fact that, just like you said, we already have value within ourselves. Now, growing up, especially in school, other people may not see your value, but that doesn't mean that it's not there. You can put pearls before swine, and they just think it's just another rock. But that pearl, amongst other people, are like, oh, like, they're gonna snatch that. I need that. I want that. So it's all about who you're around. Bro. So just because people looking down on you doesn't mean that you're lesser than. They just don't see your worth. But and straight out the womb, you already have that worth based on being a creation, being loved by God, by your family, whomever, whatever you believe in. Cool. And so, like, what's the setup for? Well, before I get to your setup, as far as the cameras and everything, did you have a plan going into it? Because you said that you was going to document your own journey, and then that has shifted now to you're documenting the journeys of so many other people. So did you come into it with a plan as far as, like, I'm gonna put out these type of videos, or was it just progressive as you went along?
To be honest, bro, I went in it with the mindset of, I'm going to glorify God through different type of content. So for me, it was kind of a spontaneous, I'm going to do series on myself, even after the basketball series. I'm going to do series on myself that include the things that I'm doing ministry-wise. So probably from episode, and this is back when my channel was originally called Wayne Game TV. Don't ask me why, because I truly don't know why I named it Wayne Game TV, but it was named Wayne Game TV. So from episode probably 4 to episode 20 of Wayne's World, the actual series was called Wayne's World at the time. It wasn't even the actual YouTube name. Like, my mom actually helped me change my name to Wayne's World, because she was like, Wayne Game TV don't even make sense. You should just change it to Wayne's World. So after episode 20, that's when I changed it to Wayne's World. And then that's when I put out the Sumter's Finest trailer, which kind of transitioned me from only showing ministry stuff to then now showing my first love, basketball, and the athletes that were in my city. And at the time that I started, man, nobody was on the sideline. Like, literally, like, nobody was recording. And I felt like this was a perfect opportunity to, showcase these athletes, because I would go to the games and I would hear about Ja, I would hear about Isaiah Moore, I would hear about Grant Singleton, hear about Tyrell Steele, all the people in our city, and I'm like, I have a camera, they have the talent, let me record. So I started recording, and then when I picked up the camera to record basketball, that's when we were able to see Ja for one of the first times. And that's when I truly was not aware of what I was seeing at the time. Even when I was recording Ja, I would tell people, yeah, he's dope, but I would come up with excuses why he's not going to be the most elite player. It wasn't until I believe it was the AC Florida game, his last game of high school, where he had a triple-double and missed the game tying shot in overtime, that I realized that, okay, this guy is going to be special. But yeah, man, like it went from ministry stuff to sports stuff. And now it's, sports documentary stuff. It's kind of miscellaneous things tucked in there that I haven't released. But I like to do a little more personal things, man. Like the last 2 drops I had was a drop from Vernon Taylor, who's a 10-year pro overseas.
Yeah.
Super dope, super motivational. And then the last drop that I have is 7th Woods, who, we all know was the phenom. And, now he's, going on his last year in college to make the most of, his opportunities. So I like to kind of do what you do, man. Learn about people, get their stories, and put some action clips in there every now and then to keep people engaged. But yeah, man.
Okay, that's what's up.
I hope that answered it. I kind of went different spaces.
Oh no, you good. Because sometimes we have a plan going into it, and sometimes it's good to just I'm gonna go ahead and start this and see where the momentum takes me. And that's good that you saw that you saw the opportunity there that, hey, nobody else is recording them, nobody else is getting their story out. Why can't I be the one? And you jumped on that immediately. So that's definitely real dope. I do want a quick question. What school did 7th go to? I remember him. He was like the embodiment of hype coming up through school. Like everybody was on 7th.
Yeah.
That man was crazy balling. Like what middle high school did he go to?
He went to Hammond. He went to Hammond right here in Columbia.
Okay.
Private school.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that boy was balling. He's still playing at UNC?
Yeah, this is last year. So he redshirted last year. It's gonna be his last year to be able to play. Yeah, hopefully do something special.
Okay. That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
So when you started filming, did you just grab your camera and just walk out on the sideline and start taping? Did you use your connections from used to being on the teams like that? Like how did that work exactly?
Well, I mean, it was one of those things where, like you said, I jumped out and I went, man, and I was just trying to get all the footage that I wanted to see. So me, I'm nosy. I like to know the ins and outs of things. So I know that I would have wanted to see some locker room stuff, and I would want to see some practice stuff. And I would want to see some at-home stuff. So with me, I wanted to just get in spaces that other people weren't getting into. Like the news would show up periodically, but the news never covered like no locker room stuff. The news didn't really come to practice like that. So I wanted to give people a perspective that they didn't have. Like it would be thousands of people at, Ja's game, and they would see him play. They would see the coach in the huddle and things of that nature, but they didn't know what went on in the locker room. They didn't know how Ja was feeling before the game. They didn't know what they were doing before they walked out the little tunnel into the court. So I wanted to give people that behind the scenes, that all access view, so they can kind of feel like they are a part and were a part of the whole journey, from locker room all the way to the end of the game, after the after game speech, post game speech. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. The way you do it is a whole vibe having everybody out there, from the fans going to the locker rooms. That definitely is very crazy before and after the game, especially after a win. Them boys be feeling themselves, boy. I tell you. That's definitely some great footage. Because people want to get involved and get to know, what they off the court once that game ends, what they're going to say.
Exactly.
People love the post game interviews and everything, and take it to somewhere where it's real natural. That's something that people definitely love. Like, what's your setup as far as what kind of camera you got? Like, you had a couple of different cameras, like your light setup and everything. What's going on with that? How do you plan that as far as your setup with your equipment?
Yeah, for sure. So I started out with a Canon T5i. So I was really shooting 60 frames, 720, which isn't even full HD. So for all of the Something's Finest series, probably up until, I think it was up until mid 2019, I was shooting 720, not full HD, which is kind of crazy to think about, the people we cover, the things that were accomplished. But last year, I put my money where my mouth is, and I got a 4K camera, GH5, shoots, 1080p, 60 frames, 4K, shoots 4K, 24 frames per second, 400 megabytes, like all the, the tech people know what I'm talking about. But yeah, man, that's my camera setup, and I have three. I actually have two lights on right now, two boom lights, with 4 bulbs in each, and I have a third one that I just don't have set up right now. And I use that for my green screen stuff so that, I can be lit pretty well,
Before that quick interruption, one question I did want to ask you back on the topic of how, of the whole setup and everything. So what was your goal with growing the platform? You were just putting out stuff documenting your own story. You had a lot of connections, people that you knew from colleges and high school and everything, being on teams. Was that a big push, or did you have to go out there a lot more organically and kind of push real hard to grow the channel?
I mean, I think the growth was organic because not only did I know people, but I presented everything about myself, from the 20 episodes that I put out. I pretty much told everybody everything about me. Like I revealed some of the dark stuff that happened to me in college in those episodes and even afterwards. So I believe that people love transparency and authenticity and consistency. So I feel like all of those things kind of worked in my favor. And on top of that, I knew A'ja Wilson, I knew Ja, I knew Tevin Mack, I knew some prominent basketball players, and just being at the right place at the right time, man, God really looked out and gave me a community of athletes, to, be able to work with and get dope relationships with. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. The consistency is something that everybody mentions for sure. And the one thing that a lot of people are worried about is putting themselves out there. Was that something that you had to overcome as far as just letting everything hang loose? So how did you deal with that? And also being consistent too?
Nah, like, that's one thing just about me that, like, I'm gonna put myself out there. I'm gonna put myself out there, and I'm gonna be transparent. I'm gonna be open. Like, if I don't do those things, that's when I strip away one of my, one of my best qualities. Like one of my best qualities, and what I would consider, and what Eric Thomas says, everybody has like their own superhero qualities. I feel like one of mine is just being open, honest, and telling you how I feel and telling you what I've been through and telling you what's going on currently. So I believe since the onset, I've just been intentional with telling people what's been going down in my life and what I've been going through and and I try to get it from other individuals. Like I remember I did multiple interviews with Tevin Mack. We'll talk off screen about some things that I'm like, okay, let me get that out of you. And I would like literally prime like, bro, just be honest with everybody and tell them what's going on. But yeah, man, that's one thing that I just desire. And two, I desire that from the people that's around me. So if you're around me, I'm not going to allow you to cap or to not tell it like it is, or tell me how you feel about me. I feel like being open and communicating what's really on your mind in a respectful way is the most healthy practice. So yeah, bro, it's always been something that I've been doing from day one.
Was it like an avenue of therapy like that for you? Being able to just put everything out there, or do you think it was more so for the benefit of other people rather than benefit for yourself?
I seen it as opportunity to serve and to be productive in what I was feeling. Like I felt like if you don't share what you're going through and have the intentions to help somebody else with what you're going through, I feel like what you're going through is not really benefiting you or the other people. I believe that you go through certain things so that other people can hear about it and get encouragement from it. I believe that when we share our stories, not only at the end of the road, but during the road, that people can say, I struggle with that too. And you find some commonality with that person and may even foster a relationship with that person. But most of all, know that like, I'm not alone. Know that like, yo, my my struggle or, my situation may not be as bad as somebody else's. And I think when we share our story, it's one of those things that it benefits others, just as much as it may benefit us.
Mm-hmm. And that's something I definitely respect that a lot. I feel like there's a song, there's a False Prophets by J. Cole, and he talked about how people look at certain celebrities or just even Instagram people can be celebrities nowadays, but they look at people in a certain light that they like when somebody finally does something that you don't like or that is wrong, like everything just falls apart. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they would do something like that. I can't believe that you would have fought that person back in fifth grade. I can't believe that you would have got kicked out of high school. I can't believe that, all these different things. But it's because they try to put on airs about themselves and make it seem like everything is all good rather than sharing those things to bring themselves down. And sometimes other people can put them on a pedestal too. So I think that by being in a transparent way, really telling like it is, like you were saying, it keeps everything very as a just a man of the people kind of thing, and it avoids that problem of people thinking that you're just going to be so perfect and everything's going to be so great. But just like you said, that relatability factor.
Yeah, for sure. And you got to be built for it too, though. Like you were saying, like people are going to criticize you. People are going to talk about you, nitpick, micromanage, microanalyze. Like, and the people that get me the most are the people that microanalyze, but have nothing going on for themselves. It's like if you spend as much energy microanalyzing as you do, or as you could be doing, starting your own venture, you would be successful, brother and sister. You would be top 5 in your, category. So I just encourage anybody that's over-analyzing someone else's success or practice or, whatever they're doing to observe what you're doing and look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I putting as much energy in my own ventures as I am somebody else's and analyzing them? Because I think that's a waste of time, to be honest.
So you mentioned that, and then you have a lot of the charisma and everything like that to be on video and everything. Was that something you had to develop, or you already had that talent?
Man, honestly, I don't know. Sometimes I overthink. Like now, I overthink the production process with how I'm acting in the video, because a lot of times I allow some of that critique to come in and be like, is he doing too much? Am I saying too much? Things of that nature. But starting out, bro, it was just me just trying to be as raw and as Dwayne as I could, for lack of better words. Like not try to put on for nobody, try to be as weird as I assume myself to be, and let people judge that, let people see that, and get the feedback and see if I needed to kind of adjust, because I did want to succeed. I did want to continue to be somebody that people glean from and things of that nature. So I think as I've gotten older, bro, like I spend less time on the charisma aspect and more time on the information and what I can actually give that's of value. And I think both are important. But I think at my beginning stages, I spent a lot more time trying to just be raw and have this charisma, but didn't really give food that could really hold somebody over for a week or 2 months or things of that nature that could actually change and transform their lives. So
yeah, you have to have the show. You got to have the go. You got to have both sides. I appreciate the fact that you definitely do add the information in there for people so that they keep coming back, even if you might not like how they present it. If it's still good food, you're gonna keep coming back.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So what are some challenges that you had to overcome when you was going with your YouTube and Instagram channels to grow those? So you say you wanted to be successful with them, to grow them, to get that platform out there. So what were some of the challenges that you had to overcome?
I think before I started doing sports, I had a lot of just static seasons, bro. Like where I didn't see any growth at all. Like I really didn't have the support. Like I have the same maybe 300 to 200 people that would watch my videos, but I didn't have the 1,000, 2,000 viewers that I wanted. And it wasn't until I kind of changed my method and really looked deep into myself and say, yo, what do I truly enjoy? And how could I do something that I truly enjoy? Also couple that with my purpose, because I felt like they were two different things. I felt like I really enjoy basketball, video, and doing content like that. I felt like my purpose was to make people known about the God that I love and the God that I gave my life to, who I believe has given me the intrinsic value. So I was like coupling my passion and my I guess desire to be creative with my purpose. And when I merged both of those together, that's when I started to see the channel take off. Before, it was just my purpose, like, I'm making y'all known about God, but I'm not adding in like my passion and what I truly like really, really love. Because at the time I was still figuring out, what I could do with this. I didn't truly know the limitations. Could I do that and this at the same time? I didn't know. So it took me like a year and a half to figure out, okay, I could do both. I can merge those together and use that as a tool to fulfill the purpose and the passion at the same time, simultaneously. So that's when I truly, truly started to see some growth. And then, honestly, in the year 2017, I believe, like that December, right before 2018, that's the biggest. I remember the day like it was yesterday when I put out the trailer for Something's Finest. That's the biggest response I ever got for anything on YouTube. And I was getting mentions on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I'll never forget that feeling. I felt like I freaking won the World Series. Like I felt like I got NBA trophy in my hand. I felt like, my lifelong dream of accomplishing something was finally there. And I was just like, I could relax now and actually focus in on just doing that. And when I found that out, bro, I could put my purpose with my passion. It was like, man, I gotta go full throttle with this until I can't go anymore.
Yes, seeing you yourself put the numbers up on the board, man, it's a good feeling. It's like, oh, like it go from like, well, I got 5 likes, oh, I got 5,000. Oh, that's nice right there.
Right. Yeah. At that time, I wasn't making any money. Like I didn't even know YouTube, like you could make money at the time. Like it wasn't until probably 2 years after that I got my first YouTube check. But what I was really seeking to do was to gain influence to get the stigma of Merc City out. That was one of the biggest things for me, because I knew if I was able to, feed my athletes, who are the most influential young individuals in the city, the message of Jesus Christ, and allowing them to know, oh, these are God's values. This is what he thinks about you. He loves you. This is what he requires of you. It allows them to have a moral compass that keeps them in a line where, okay, when they see something out of line, they're going to speak against or not assimilate to activity that was detrimental to our community. So I was like, yo, I may not be able to get the drug dealers. I may not be able to get the people with the normal everyday student, but I'm going to get these athletes, and these athletes are going to get those drug dealers. These athletes are going to get those normal students, because they're the leaders in the community more times than not. And that was the whole goal. Like, you can't get everybody. You can't. But the people that you have influence over, you can give them some really dope content that feeds their soul and that they may like, so that they can pass that on. And I believe that was one of the things that we did that I still see the fruits of. Like even now, when I hear Jai always talk about his success and mention that God is the greatest, and God got him through these certain situations. I believe that there was a part of the Something's Finest series that always stuck with him, that allowed him to not only assimilate to it, but allow it to get in his heart, along with his parents raising him the way they were supposed to and things of that nature. But that was my goal, and I kind of see that goal being lived out by those athletes.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up, man. And that is a good idea that you had as far as reaching out to them. It's a shame that but it's true that our athletes are the most influential people. But hopefully, once we can build up the other, the doctors, teachers, the lawyers and things like that in our neighborhoods, that can change. It's going to take a lot of groundwork, a lot of work on everybody's part, really. But it's a great way to get to it. Because if you know you can't get somewhere, it's always a back way. There's always another way that you can get around.
Yeah. And I want to say one thing too before you continue. For a long time, like I guess recently, I felt sort of convicted by only, I guess, giving a reward or some type of, influence to athletes or sharing my platform. But I realized that we all have a part to play in it. And I'm not the only person that is be doing this type of work. Like you are going to be helping build up people that aren't, you know what I'm saying, in the sports realm, you know what I'm saying, as well as in it, but your reach could be wider than mine because your purpose may be wider than mine. And I think that's one thing that, people in the community have to understand. You can't demonize somebody for being in their niche and staying in their niche and being effective in their niche. Because I have a lot of people that come to me and say, hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? You need to do this. You need to do that. But at the end of the day, if someone feels a true burden in that area, you feel a passion for that area, if God placed that in you, then if you jump out on faith, he may give you the resources to be effective in the area that you're passionate about. So I want to take time to applaud you for starting this video podcast, bro, and YouTube channel. And I'm just praying that you continue to be consistent. I'm going to be effective, bro, because you will change lives and help build up, other demographics other than athletes, bro. And I'm excited about that, honestly.
I appreciate that, man. And come what it may, I'm hoping that it goes well, hoping that it just can encourage people, just expose people to, just things that they haven't always considered. And even if it's just one person, it may just be a brother or cousin of mine that's encouraged. But that's it, then that's good enough for me. But I like what you said too about, people encouraging you, trying to push you into certain directions. It's good to be willing to shift lanes. Let me try something different. Let me try this over here like you did earlier, versus going from ball to doing videos. But the cause of staying in your lane is important too. If that's not my thing, that I'm not going to do it.